Hello. We're recording at 60 FPS now. My pajamas there. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the bed. Don't worry about me. I'm the focus. Same shirt. It's the gym shirt, by the way. It's Revenge chain. Bought it with my first ever paycheck. I think I was working in a hotel. Not the point of this video. We'll talk about that. Different video. But today we're talking about. There's two things I want to talk about. One thing. I want to talk about getting fired, but I don't think that would be a long video. But I want to talk about it. So I guess we'll talk about it and we'll see where it goes. There's no really ideas. I don't have my notebook. Should have my notebook on me, and then we can dilute the ideas, I think, better. Have more, But we'll talk about getting fired today. And how do we start this? In 2024, January 1st, I made a promise to myself that I would change my life. I was very unhappy with the way my life was running, the way my life was headed. I dropped out back in April 2023 from university. I was going for engineering. And I never really liked university. But I don't know if we'll talk about that. But I never liked university. To be fair, I don't frankly believe it's the way to success. And by success is very broad, but I don't mean it's a way to guarantee income or guarantee a job. I think it's quite the opposite, actually. I think it's a way to guarantee debt and guarantee stress and to guarantee a thing that pulls you back. Because you have that debt and you have something you always feel like you have to work within the field you graduated from. So you always feel like you have to be in that thing, which I didn't like that. But I dropped out in April 2023 from engineering at one university in Newfoundland. And I was going for 2 years. I didn't like it. And I dropped out. And in April when I dropped out, I went back to Tim Hortons to work. I worked there till, we'll recap. So I worked till 2024, not till 2024, but I worked there 2024, January 1st. I made an oath to myself that whatever happens, I have to change my life. And there was three main criteria I wasn't happy about. The first criteria was my fitness, or my health, my physical health. My second thing was my confidence and my charisma and the way I handled myself. And the third thing was my money and my lifestyle. They seem simple enough to solve each on their own, but at the time I was 20 years old. Yeah, I was 20 years old. And I decided I'm going to change my life for the better. And I'm still in the process. I wouldn't say my life is perfectly changed now, but I think that was a step in the right direction. So we'll get to that. So January 24, I decided to change my life. And the first thing that came to mind to solve two of these things, which was my charisma and my money, was getting into sales. And not any sales, I decided to join car sales. And I made it a goal to become a salesman within January of that year. Fast forward a little bit. Let's just put this computer to sleep. My bad, guys. Let's see. Here we go. So I decided to join car sales. I researched it. I wanted to understand how it was, what I could do, what are the things I needed to do it. And I realized I needed my license, which was for ONVIC. I got my ONVIC, and I was successful. Next part was to hand out resumes. I watched a lot of videos and I watched a lot of things. I would make a bundle. I wish I had one, but I would make a binder, a small little binder, and I would put my cover letter, I put my resume, and I put two empty sheets of paper with the logo of the company that I was applying for on the binder, and I would give it to each place I went, and I think I made 20 of these, and I handed them out. And after every place I went, I would follow up with an email to each person. And I know 20 doesn't sound like a big number at all, but it was most of the dealerships I wanted to work at. I'd send an email to the manager I spoke to, and I handed the resume to, so he wouldn't forget about me. And he'd have an email there on his computer, like, oh, you're right, forgot about him. And so that was my idea, my plan. It worked well. Most managers, actually, that's a tip for you guys. Most managers loved that. They loved what I did with the binder thing. There was the odd bird, which was very upset about me coming in and sitting at their waiting room and waiting for them to be free for me to talk to them. And they threw out my binder in front of me, which was fine. It's okay. Things don't always play in your favor, but you know what? It's the thought that counts. Uh, Fast forward to February 19th or February 17th, I got my first call. It was Toyota from Welland. Welland Toyota, it was a dealership. They called me for a sales interview. I walked in, I did the interview. They loved my first interview. I did so good. I watched a lot of Andy Elliott videos. Yes, his alpha male content is weird, but his actual content of getting a sales job was incredible. His advice was amazing. I followed his interview advice, and it landed me a second interview. I went to my second interview. It was with one person, and they liked me too, and they decided that ultimately I was a good candidate. They gave me a phone call, and here is where the ruckus starts. I thought I made it when I got that call. I thought I did it. I got my first sales job. They give me the call, pick up the phone, and they're like, hello. I'm like, hello. Is this Yusuf? I'm like, yeah. They were telling me that they're interested in hiring me, but not for the position I applied for. They wanted to create a position for me, so I would stay with them until they have another sales position for me, and they would put me in. So I would be training with them until then, and then they would put me in as soon as the second sales position opens. I understood that, and I took the opportunity as it came. The position was procurement associate. I have a business card there. I could show you guys, but it doesn't matter. It just says Yusuf Mahmoud Procurement Associate on it. Volunteer. And when I tell you that moment of my life, I would say, not right now the proudest moment of my life, but I remember then I was so proud of myself, and I was so proud of what I have done, that a company decided to make a position just to keep me with them. It made me so excited about the future. And I felt like I finally turning my life around. The first few weeks were, how do I say this, mundane. They were shit. I hated it. And not just hate it as like it was shit. I hated it. I hated work. I hated every part of it. And it was an easy job, man. Holy fuck, it was such an easy job. I would sit on my computer and I would just find cars for them to buy and procure them for them. And I would get a pay for every car I bought. Mind you, this was my first job. And I would call customers for 8 hours a day. 11 to 7 for 5 days a week. And I would try to find listings and call them and negotiate and yada yada. I have my notebook here, I think, but I ended up procuring in the 3 months 5 cars. And for the people saying this was shit, understand that you're offering each customer that has their car listed 5 to 6 grand less than actual market price. Let's say if customer's asking a fair price of 23 grand, I have to come in there and tell them 17 grand is what we can offer them. It's because I and the company needs to make money. Anyways, sorry, my brother just came down. And I don't know if this takes a completely, but I think I was performing pretty good. Honestly, I believed I was doing the best I could at the time. And I was happy with myself. At the time, the manager that really liked me, that created this position for me, his name was J.P. Nelson. He wasn't too happy with my performance. He was always on my ass. He was always very rude to me. He wasn't a kind person to be around. He wasn't very happy with me. I don't know why. He was very aggressive with me. A very vivid moment I had was I came to his office one time to ask him about a car a customer was willing to sell to us. And I told him, hey, there's this car, yada yada, and he told me, are you sick? And I'm like, no, no, why am I saying my voice deeper? And he said, why the fuck are you arguing with me? I'm like, I'm not arguing. He said, you're always coming to my office to argue. I'm like, I wasn't arguing with you. I was just asking a question. And he wasn't very happy with me. Regardless to say, that job didn't last very long. So I started in February, let's say 19th or 17th. And I got fired in March, April, May. I got fired in June. And I remember that meeting. I remember that day I got fired. It was a Monday morning at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m., sorry. And he walked in. Jim came in first. He was my direct manager, and he came in first. And he didn't say anything about it. I don't know if he knew or not, but I don't think he did. I didn't get that vibe from him. And he told me, hey, there's this guy I want you to look at. I'll send you an email. They sent me an email. Take a look at it. Then Nelson and Jim come up together and sit in the boardroom. They sit me in the boardroom. And at that moment, because he had pieces of paper, I knew. And I don't know why I didn't care. I was actually quite excited to get fired. For two things. The first reason was that I knew they had to pay me now for my vacation days. And they had to pay me now also severance, which was a week. So I knew them firing me wasn't. I just sat in the office and I was confused. When they told me, they brought the piece of paper like, Yusuf, we like you, you're a great candidate, yada yada, and we love you. And as soon as they said that, I knew I was getting fired, right? They're like, but we have to let you go. And I was like, I didn't say anything. And even they were confused as to why I was not reacting. Because I think they thought I was going to react in a negative way, which I wasn't. And they said, are you okay? You're not saying anything? I was like, oh, I just want to go now. If we're done here, I just want to go. They were like, yeah, but you don't seem to be. I was like, no, I mean, this makes me excited for my future now, because now I know I have to look for a different job and I know what I'm hoping to look for. I think they were quite disappointed with that. I think they wanted a reaction out of me. I don't know why. Because I was young, and I don't know if they thought I don't know, but they were confused as to why I was not reacting, which I found quite weird. But I remember at the time, not remember, it wasn't that long ago, but at the time I just bought my car and I had payments coming up on it and I had my insurance coming up. Thank God I was smart enough to have some money set aside for that, because I kind of had a suspicion it was going to happen. When I got fired, the first thing I did, as soon as I got fired, I went to the gas station. And just to give you a background on the place I worked at, I don't think anybody there liked me, to be fair. And that just shows something about me, that I wasn't likable. But I wasn't in touch with the culture. I wasn't similar to those guys. They really didn't like me when I was around. And there's one person like me. Her name was Shiloh. She was pretty cool. She was very nice. I used to like talking to her, and she would talk to me, and I thought she was the coolest person. But yeah, I ultimately got fired, and most people didn't like me, and I don't mind. I had two people that liked me, and they messaged me. Shiloh I liked, and then I forgot his name. Brendan liked me. Brandon, and he messaged me when I got fired. He's like, I'm sorry, and he actually tried to help me get another job because he really liked me and he really liked what I did. I used to help him out with some things. He tried to get me a different job, which I appreciate, Brendan, if you're watching this. And yeah, I still remember as soon as I walked out those doors, I didn't even walk through the front door because I was embarrassed. I walked through the back door. I went to gas. I put gas in my car. I didn't have much money, so I filled the tank up with gas. I remember there was a few bucks off, but I knew there was one more paycheck hitting with the severance and the vacation pay, so I estimated it would be around $1,400. So I was waiting for that to pay the remaining of the bills. So as soon as I got out, I put gas in the car, and the first call I made was to my mom, and I told her, "Hey, I got fired," and to my surprise, I thought she was gonna give me a poor reaction, be very upset and very disappointed, but she gave me a comforting and my dad also gave me an exciting point of view, and he was like, "You got this. It's just a small hiccup. You're gonna do great, right?" I didn't go home right after. I went to the library. where I went and printed another set of uh, binders with the same thing again, and I handed them out again to a different dealership, and I handed it out to Volkswagen. Think about the dealership. I remember Volkswagen vividly, and this is when I realized that there's two things here now. Either I come back home, cry about it, get upset about it, and just rot on my computer, or try to figure this out and build something out of this. So I handed in my resumes. I got home, and I first thing I did, took off my clothes and sat on this computer, and I opened my business's website. This was before the business had any customers and before we had any capital and we had anything, any equipment. It was just a logo and building a business, building a website at this point. I got home, I finished the website, I built the social medias, and then I started building a spreadsheet of all the equipment that we needed. And I would do that. I would work on that for 2 weeks straight. I just kept working on that. And I wouldn't go out much. I would just work on all of that. And the time flew by. I didn't notice I got fired because I had so much to do still. I would go to the gym and I would work on the business, and I was building this business, and I was trying so hard to find any money so I can buy equipment for it. And yeah, it randomly enough, while I was doing all that, I got a call from BMW. This is my position right now, and they wanted me for an interview. And at the same time, which is so weird, at the same time, I got a call from BMW. My old Tim's job gave me a text. I swear, like not even same hour, maybe. I swear it feels like the same 10 minutes. As soon as I hung up the phone for the interview, I got a text. This is what I remember, like, and it was from my old manager at Tim Hortons. She wanted me back for she said 4 weeks. She wanted a commitment of 4 weeks from me. I think I still have the text, but it was a commitment of 4 weeks from me because one of the bakers was going for maternity leave, and I got hit with a dilemma. Whether I take the Sims job and I have 4 weeks to work, or I keep working on the business, which was exploding because it was 2 months. It was from I got fired in June. July, I got the call for Tim's and BMW. And I was like, from June to July, the business went from zero customers and nothing to show for it to equipment, another business partner, and customers. From all in the span of a month. Ultimately, I decided that the business wasn't paying me enough, and I need to pay my car bill, I need to pay my insurance, I need to pay my I need to have money for gas, I need to have money for food. So I took the Tim's job, and I did it. I told them I needed Wednesday off and I needed Sunday off because those are my days off for the other dealership, and those were the days me and my business partner would work on the business, which they agreed to, and I did that, and I did it for 5 days a week, Wednesday and Sunday off, and I would work those 2 days on the business, and afternoon I would work on the business. I'd go home, work on the business, detail the cars that needed to be done. And at the time, I didn't get a call back from BMW yet, and I was getting quite scared because my 4 week time in Tim's was running to an end. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And on the last day, which is so weird, on the last day, I got a call from BMW, Taylor, my manager. She told me that I was hired for the job, and I can start August 19th. So August comes around, and it taught me a lesson that whatever you do, even if it has a negative outcome, most of the time, 90% of the time, if you work through it and you put your head down and just do what you need to do or try to do something, it works out. I might be dumb for saying this because most situations aren't like this, but for me, it felt like that's how I got through it. And that was probably the proudest moment of my life, was dealing with getting fired and breaking up with somebody, and my car payments, and finding a job all at the same time in a couple months before it all implodes and explodes, or I lose my car, or it's a big shit show. I really made me proud that I figured it out, that I did it. And I give myself props because most people, I think, when they get fired, they take it too personally, I think. They think they're getting fired because it's them, and that's not because of business. Like, they're getting fired because you're Yusuf, not because they need to fire, because they need to make more money to business, and that's how it goes. And I think I took it latter, that I knew it was a business. I knew they weren't firing me because they hated me. I don't think there was any prejudice. I think they fired me just because I wasn't making them the money, and they were losing money on me, which is fine. I understand. Business needs to be conducted, and they need to make their money, and that's fine. That's completely understandable. I would have done the same thing as a business owner. So I didn't really take it personally. I didn't care, and I just worked through it, and I found a way to make it work. All that to say that one of my biggest lessons I learned from that encountership was that whatever happens to you, having the right mentality about it helps a lot more. Even if you don't work out, and I was to lose the car, I think because of my mentality, I would have survived it still. I would have not been depressed. I would have not been upset. I would have been understanding that it was a dumb decision buying a car like that at the age I am with the income I had. And it's just time to rebuild, right? It's just time to figure it out now again in a different way. And a lot of people need to learn that, I think. A lot of people my age need to understand that things do happen, unfortunately, and we have to take it, even if you can't control the situation, you have to take it with the right headspace, because that helps a lot with the right mentality. So that was one of my biggest lessons, is learning how to deal with things, even if they're not going your way. But yeah, that's a video on when I got fired. It's pretty weird when I talk about it in the past tense, because it just feels like it was yesterday I got fired. Maybe next we can talk about the greatest year of my life.